Howdy everyone, this is LockNutz, and you're watching a map tour of Angeliter. Hopefully you'll stick around to see what happens. Howdy, 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 how are you doing today? Oh my goodness, I tell you what, today we get to go and do a map tour of Angeliter. Now, hopefully I'm saying that correctly, but there's a good possibility I might not be. Now, Angeliter is for PC only, and it is 350.5 megabytes to download. Alright, now this map right here is already on version 2, but let's go ahead and read what it says on the map description. This is version 2.0. Welcome to Angeliter. This is a fictional map where there are medium large fields and large forestry areas for forestry work. For the description of the version change, it says, there are a lot of changes that have been made. Many changes only become active with new saved games. So if you had an old saved game and you want to keep playing and you downloaded it, it will not affect the game at all until you go ahead and actually have a new save. Then at that point, all the new upgrades, or I should say, all of the upgrades that are part of the new version will be added on here. Let's continue on. Giant's AI helper pathfinding has been improved. There are now delineators. BGA was rebuilt a bit. Cattle market got a new name on the top of the map icon. Fixed bugs where going to sell points on the map would split out an error. Cow shed slightly lowered. Modified the building for the barn a bit so that you could easily unload with any trailer. Removed grain from silo, which you had at the start. View direction on startup has changed. Added chocolate shop. Ooh, everybody likes a chocolate shop. Cotton point of sale has been added. Courtyard slightly redesigned. Windmill at field 9 has been lowered. Field 25 and 26 have been smoothed to flat surface. Example, B mod productions can now find reasonable space. There are now book objects all over the map. There are 4 colors for every 10 objects. Some dirt roads have been revisited. There are very many cosmetic changes throughout the map, and they have removed stray parking lanes on field 22. I can see how that could be confusing. I'm not surprised they went and fixed that. And again, like I said, guys, this is for PC only, so there may be some things on here that you don't necessarily think are 100% correct for a console, because it's not how it's set up, this one. Now, like I said, we are starting this one off on new farmer mode, just so you guys can see what's going on, what you actually start off with if you were to start off in new farmer mode. But after going ahead and taking a look on all the farming modes that you can start off in, new farmer mode, farm manager, and start from scratch, you start off with all of the vehicles. There's nothing special in between any of them. The only difference is that new farmer mode, you start off with $100,000. Farm manager, it's $1.5 million, and start from scratch has the standard $500,000 with the $200,000 loan, leaving you a gross of $300,000. Now, one thing that I did find out when I was looking at this, I do still start off with this, so I'm not sure if I have the most up-to-date version. I believe I do, so if there are some discrepancies, I do apologize. But you do start off with a little bit of grain if you are in new farmer mode. The other modes, you do not start off with that. So let's go ahead and take a look and see what items you actually start off with. All right, starting off, you have two Massey Ferguson medium-sized tractors, a little slightly older bugger there, and a new guy. Large tractors, you get two different fence and a class. Oh my goodness, lots of fun right there. Harvesters, you start off with a class Tryon 750, and to accompany that, you do start off with a header trailer, and you start off with a grain header and a corn header, so you are all set up and ready to go. You do actually start off with your own pickup truck, which is pretty darn slick. Trailers wise, you have two different varieties. You have this guy right here that has 22.5 cubic meters, and then this one that has 17, which is kind of weird that this guy is more expensive than this guy, but I try not to ask these questions too much. Going on to plows. Let's take a look at plows. You start off with the Convernland EcoMat. Cultivators, the Rothsmesh. Subsoilers, you start off with a Culti Plow Platinum 8 meter. Not too shabby. Seeder-wise, you start off with the Rapid A800S. Mowers, you start off with the Pottinger combo, where you get the bigger guy and the smaller one. Forage wagons, the Cargos, the Claas, pretty handy right there. Baler, Claas again. I'm noticing a pattern. Bale loader, you got one of these auto loading, as I like to call them, the mechanical auto loading, as opposed to the magical auto loading trailers. And then you start off with a front loader and some pallet forks, and then you end up starting with two weights. So that's what you start off with equipment wise. Now let's take a look and see what you have land wise. All right, let's zoom on out here. This is what you start off with. It's actually three different plots here: plot 1, 2, 3, and then the main farm, which have prices on here of 143,000, 155,000, and 215, and 122. So quite a bit of cash sitting right here if you decide you want to start on new farmer mode, sell all this and do whatever you want. That's entirely up to you. Now, we do have some various field sizes in here. Some medium-sized fields. I don't know. I'd consider these ones kind of small, but let's go ahead and take a look here. The most expensive field that we have on the map is Field 11 at a cool $1.05 million. Oh yeah, a lot of land right there. And on the opposite side of the spectrum, right next to it up here, Field 10, we have a total of $37,713 for that field. That is the cheapest one on here. Now, there are two forestry areas. We'll call them designated. It's one big one right here, but there are two of them right there. And they're actually not too bad for $170,000 for one of them and $185,000 for the other. You can get them all for $350-ish thousand, which isn't too bad if that's the route you want to go. We will take a look at some of this other stuff as well. Now, there are three farms that you can buy. I'm going to say it like that because there are a lot of farms on here that you could potentially set up shop on, but you can't purchase them. And the ones that you can purchase are this guy here in the center. There is this one off over here for $52,000. And there is the other one that is right here. There it is. For $60,000, almost $61,000. Now these two right here, if we get off of this one right here has the horse stable on it, and this one up here has the pigsty. So I mean, those two already come with a little bit of something right there. And then at the main farm right here, you do have chickens. It's kind of funny. I take a look at this little icon right there, and when this cow icon is zoomed out a little bit, it kind of looks like a hippopotamus to me, but I don't think we got hippopotamuses on this map, so oh my gosh, that's pretty nifty right there. We'll take a little walk around this farm here in just a minute. One thing that I do want to point out here is this guy right here, the BGA. Now, one thing that I want to point out is this you cannot use. You cannot do anything with this one. But if you want to, you can buy the land for $42,000, and that actually gives you access. So kind of holler back to the FS19 days where you had to just purchase the land and it gave you the BGA. That's what's ended up happening here. So you don't have to individually buy it like you ended up having to do for most of the other maps in FS22. Now, let's start looking at what we got here on the farm. All right, so as kind of, let's go like this right here, because I want to do this. I like to do this on all of my map tours, is have the little map up in the corner so you guys can kind of follow along as to where I'm at and what's going on. So kind of in the center of this farmyard, which is kind of nice, is where you have your house. It's kind of an awkward position a little bit, if you honestly ask me, with concrete all around and then buildings all around it. But I tell you what, there is storage galore on this farm. Absolutely insane amount of storage on this. It's pretty intense. You have your liquid fertilizer tank over here. Yep, liquid fertilizer tank. And then you pop this bad mamma jamma open, and it is an absolute cavern in here. It's a very classy cavern. I'm sorry about that. I couldn't resist. I absolutely could not resist at all. Oh, man. So we head on up over here. We got our nice little chicken coop. Nice little spot right there. We have an open style shed. At least that's kind of what I like to call these ones. Just an open freestyle. Air can blow through. Nice for airing out your vehicles. We do have the cow barn. See, cow barn, not hippopotamus barn. So watch out for that. And this barn is one of the automated robotic feeding ones. So essentially all you do is just put your fixins in there and the robot figures it out, makes TMR, and feeds your animals. So that is pretty darn slick. And one thing that every good farmer has to have is a silage bunker. A massive silage bunker right there. Around the backside over here we have a couple silos over here. I believe these guys are for like your solid fertilizers and stuff like that. So that's what's hobbling on over here. You do have yourself a hay loft, so that's pretty darn slick. And coming over here to our other massive barn, pressure washer over there. Our other massive barn, shed, whatever it is that you want to call it, is right in here. And this is absolutely intense on how neat this looks with all the windows, everything in there. To be 100% honest with you, if you're the type of person that likes to play with the game and close all the doors, but you never can remember what's in there, this is perfect for you. With the windows, you can just poke your face in and see what's actually going on. It's pretty darn slick, if you ask me. Oh, man. All right, let's get on out of here. These doors all work. That door works, the big doors, so just so that you're aware. The doors in like the office area or whatever you want to call that, those do not function, so keep that in mind. And I'm not sure where the oh, that's right, here we go. I forgot. There's more storage over here. Oh, man, and here is where your truck is. And this is where... Holy cats, that's a little loud. Let's get out of here. Let's get out of here. All right. All right, so what we're going to go ahead and do, let's stop right here for just 1 second so we can kind of figure out what's going on. One thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of take a little loop around this way, around the map, kind of come up into town, head out over here, and then we'll probably finish off kind of in the forestry area, because there's a couple things I want to show you real quick in the forestry area. Now, one of the things I do want to give fair warning to everybody right now, one of the things that I really enjoy doing here is I love driving through the fields on these map tours. Why, may I ask you? No, it's not to irritate the heck out of you, but I like driving through the fields so that we can kind of see the elevation changes, the bumps, the bruises, the undulations, if you will, of the land, to kind of help you figure out what's going on. Now, obviously, this field right here is a very big field for this map. and it is at quite the angle. So if you're coming out here and you're working the land, you are going to really have to kind of think about what you want to do. Now, you're probably not going to want to harvest or plow uphill or anything like that. You're still going to want to probably go side to side. If you decide that you do want to harvest up and down, you're probably going to want to look at getting something with a little bit more horsepower. Let's say you need a plow that has a 100 horsepower requirement. You're going to want to at least go 150, 200 horsepower just to compensate for this hill and keep your vehicle running at top speed. So just as a heads up for that field right there. Now, we will pop on the road right over here because there's a... This is pretty much the size of the fields that we're going to end up with. I should say the size of the roads that you're going to have. As you can see right here, the road actually is not too bad. It's nice and wide, so if you want to go ahead... Oh my gosh, let's get out of this view. I'm not too good at that in cab view, so I do apologize for that. But if you do want to go ahead and drive around in these back roads, you definitely can. There's not too much traffic on here. It's honestly not all that bad. I've only run into a couple of places where there's a little bit of traffic, and it was not the end of the world whatsoever. But with that being said, you probably can navigate all these roads fairly easy with little to no problem. Now, one of the things I wanted to do is when we come over here... No, I don't think that one was one. No, okay. This is one of the cool things I like about this map. On a lot of the sell points, there are areas of storage. So let's say you want to do like a little role play where you come onto a map and you really don't know anything, you're not too sure about some stuff, and you're kind of working for somebody. There are places all over this map where you can go ahead, hop in, and store some material, store some equipment, store different various bits and pieces that you have to kind of help play out that story. It's super, super cool that they have that capability, essentially, or you have that capability or option on this map. It's a really, really nice feature. And I kind of like how... Watch out for that person. I kind of like how some of these sell points end up actually being kind of tucked out of the way, a little hidden from the world, if you will. And one neat thing here, or good thing, however you want to look at it, is there are not a lot of trees right at the edge of the fields. I don't know if you guys remember this or are aware of this or have even used it, but when you guys go ahead and hire a helper on this game, sometimes when you have trees near the edge of the fields, they tend to get a little skittish. I like to say my helper becomes afraid. My AI helper is just afraid of the trees. Because when there are trees towards the edge of the field, they get a little scared and they don't really know what they're doing. So that's kind of how I look at it. And the good news is there aren't many trees. There are enough to kind of make it feel like it's not just a barren, open chunk of land. But there's enough there to really make it seem like, hey, there are things happening here. And again, it's spaced out nice so that you don't have to worry about the AI really getting freaked out or anything like that. And again here, you do have a slight hills and rolling. Nothing sharp. There's nothing really sharp when it comes to the hills on this place. There's a nice little abandoned shack right there. Unfortunately, that's not one of those locations that you can go ahead and purchase. Actually, let's pull off to the side here because I believe I missed something here when I was looking at this. When you go ahead and you do take a look at these chunks of farmland, you can see there are some cheaper plots. These are actually fairly cheap for these larger... pull up like that so you can see for these larger plots like that. So this is a field right here. It's already got crop in it. It's already 200,000+. You can buy both of these fields right here for half that price. So, I mean, there are some deals on here definitely to be had, but you don't have a lot of these extra spaces in between that you can actually purchase. So you can kind of keep that mindset that not everything's going to work out nice and slick for you. When it... Oops. Well, that just happened. Yeah, so you just kind of want to keep your eyes peeled for everything that's going on here. All right, so let's head on up over here. And this is one of the places I wanted to stop at because... Alright, I'm just driving all over the place. This is one of those places I wanted to stop at just because of the, I don't know, the time and effort that was put into this guy. Because this is a nice, big grain mill. It's super slick. I absolutely love this. Oh, and I love how it has the big grain on there. I really do. Now, I think some of the grain mills that we have in game standard are much smaller than that. It's not necessarily a grain mill; it's a grain storage facility. Pretty much a grain mill. So, just kind of, there's a little river there. Watch out for that little bugger. And this up here, actually, this is where I was trying to head to. This is that starting farm where you can go ahead and have, oh boy, you can have the horse ranch. So, again, same theme as before. There is quite a bit of storage in this facility. You have your horse pasture out here, so you got that. Oh, I do apologize. Your horse pasture is over here. And you have that one large wooden barn. You have another large wooden barn over here. And like we have in the game, as we know now, we can go ahead and purchase and go into our construction menu, farmhouses. And if you want to, you could go ahead and throw this guy on here. Now, demolition-wise, you can demo out this guy. You can demo out that. You can demo out this shed over here. Sorry, I'm trying to move. Yep, and that's about it. So you can go ahead and demo out all this stuff on this farm if you really want to. The house has to stay there. There is no trigger on that, so that's unfortunate when it comes to sleeping. There's a possibility that if you go ahead and demo your original house, that might actually be able to happen. Actually, let's go ahead and try that right now. Let's see if we can. Oh, let's see if we can go ahead and do that at this moment. Well, everyone, we got some good news and we have some bad news. The good news is that you can go ahead and sell all that stuff off, all the houses and everything. But the bad news is that once you go ahead and sell those houses, in order to get a sleeping point, you need to put down a new house. So, oops, I had to back out and go back into the game and kind of reload it. Now, this area over here is an area that you can't own. I don't believe it's on Field 8 for purchasing. You do own, you could buy some of this, but it's pretty much at the cutoff here where the land starts to elevate. So that's not going to be something you're going to want to end up doing right there. But this also is kind of neat because it shows you that the land is going up. And again, these are actually some pretty steep inclines for farming. So definitely go ahead and look at possibly getting vehicles with much more horsepower. Oh my gosh. Well, that just happened. All right, well, okay. So, alrighty then. Okay, let's head back into town here, or into town now. I did want to take a quick little tour of the town. I'm not normally one that likes to just go to town and look at all the sell points and whatnot, but I at least want to come here to kind of let you know there are a handful of sell points here, and there is one that's very unique that I do like and want to show you. It is one that's in the center of town, and I'm not 100% sure how I can get there. I think it's down over here. Kind of. Well, we'll get there eventually. Alright, it is this large building here to the left. So as you can see, if you need to get over here, there is a relatively big archway for you to get through. I have tried this out with semis, and as you can see, comparison in size, it is okay to actually physically get in there with a larger semi. Wider implements, probably not, but you can definitely fit 2 pickup trucks side by side, just to give you a reference on how wide that area actually is. So let's come on out of town here and continue our tour on up over here. Now, I want to stop up at Field 10 just because that was one of the fields that I said was the cheapest field on the map. And as you can see, as of right now, it is actually a very bumpy and lumpy piece of land. and currently it has grass growing on it. Now, I can't guarantee that that's what's going to end up happening every single time, but it is one of the cases that would end up happening here. So let's head on down over here, keep on rocking and rolling on our way over to the BGA, and field 31 is right here. It's a little bumpy, kind of hilly, and then we get over to the biggest field on the map, field 11, and as you can see, it's not bad for elevation changes. It's not great, and any elevation change that you may end up having, it's actually relatively smooth. And that's one thing that I have noticed about this map, is there aren't a lot of areas where it's just egregiously hard to navigate around on. It's not so unbearable that you have to get yourself a monster truck or something with big mud tires on it just to get around from point A to point B. So kind of keep that in mind. Now we are coming up over here and stopping right here at this location, because this is actually the other buyable farm area where you have the pigsties right up in here. So I wanted to make sure we come up here and just take a quick little peek at this really quick. And it is the same thing as the other one, where you do have this large shed area, you have your pigsty, and then around over here, over there, here it is. So you do actually have more storage on this farm compared to the horse barn. And plus you have a lot more room out here if you want to do your placeables, like your silo, anything like that. This is definitely, in my opinion, a much more friendlier farming starting farm compared to that other one we looked at where it was the horse farm. So we're going to continue on down around this way. We're getting close to the BGA. I'd actually like to stop over there just 1 second. And it's kind of up and around the corner up over here. It's kind of on the other side of that house right there. So we'll head up over there. We'll actually use the roads. And this is one thing that I find actually pretty surprising. At some of these intersections here, this is probably one of my favorite parts of this map, is that when you have some intersections like this, the traffic actually stops instead of just blowing through here, T-boning you, and making your life terrible as your vehicle flies through the air. So that is definitely a huge bonus. Now let's get up and around over here, and we want to get to the BGA, and at that point we're going to go ahead and look at prices that are on this map. To kind of show you where we are. There are no specialty crops. There's nothing fancy that's going on here. We still have just the basic game crops that are available to you. And that's about it. And to kind of harken back to the days of FS22 or FS19, there are actually bunker silos here at this BGA with a little storage space over there. It's absolutely fabulous. So like I said before, if you want this to happen here, you want access to this, you have to own this land. So I'll come in here like this. I'm going to sell this land, just like that. And there you go. You lose access to all of that stuff right there. You can't have it. So you just come back in here, you buy it, and you have access to it. And the nice thing is, it's not like you have to go ahead and sell everything and it's all gone. Or like a lot of the other maps that are for FS22 right now. If you sell the land or you sell this item right here, you lose it for good. No more access, that's it, you're done. So, nice. I actually like this setup a lot more than some of the setups they have in most of the newer maps that are going on right now, where you have to buy that individually, and if you want to sell it, you have to sell it, and you're done. You don't ever get access to it ever again. So I like that. Maybe it's because I miss FS19 and the way that functioned that way. But that's kind of what I'm thinking. Now, this is the forestry area off to the left-hand side here, and I want to go ahead and do two things for us here. I don't know if this was on purpose. I don't know if this was a mistake or what's going on. It probably is going to end up being something that gets fixed at some point here. Now, two errors that I did find that you guys do want to kind of watch out for in this. So you see how there's a shopping basket out here in the middle of the forest. You visit it. There's my truck. It just drops you in from the air. That's one thing you kind of want to be careful of. Unless you want to get over to your forestry area, then maybe setting up your base of operations right in this area actually isn't a bad idea. The other thing I want you to be aware of, and it's not even that big of a deal, is this get readish. I can't pronounce that. I do apologize. You do end up inside the building and cannot get out. Like I said, this is probably going to be something that gets addressed at some point here, but just be mindful of this. Don't fast travel to this guy. If you want to fast travel to this guy, just realize you're going to be falling from the sky. So ultimately, it's not that big of a deal, but it's just something I want to make you guys aware of. Now, on this forestry area, it is pretty darn slick. There are a lot of very mature trees here. Let's go like this. I want to do this. So you want to definitely kind of keep your eyeballs peeled on what's going on here. And one nice thing compared to a lot of the FS19 maps that are out, or FS22 maps that are out right now, is this has more of a flat, it's still hilly, but it's more of rolling hills versus like we are seeing in a lot of the maps that are out right now. The forestry areas are like somebody came in and just dug hole after hole after hole after hole, and it looks like somebody blew the place up and they just kind of push the sand back over it. So this is more of a rolling landscape, a hillside, something that really hasn't been beat up too much by man, and it also has a relatively nice road coming through here. So it is awfully, awfully slick. Very, very nice, big wooded area. Like I said, it's full of these big, mature trees, which is very, very nice for wanting to go ahead and cut down wood for your sawmill or anything like that. Great, great area for this. Now, at this point, guys, what I want to do is I want to go ahead and take a look at the pricing really quick for the BGA because I forgot to look at it back there. Let's go ahead and take a quick little peek. The BGA prices, I'll go ahead and click on it this way. As you can see, it's not the absolute highest price for the cut sugar beets. It's not great. It's not grand. Let's see, what does it all take? Silage, slurry, manure, sugar beets. So let's go ahead and take a look at that stuff really, really quick here. Silage, it doesn't even give you the best price. These give you much better prices, but you get digest dates. So you got to think of it that way. You continue on down here to manure. It's the only place you can sell it. Slurry, only place you can sell it. So if that's the route you want to take to get digest date, maybe this might not be as bad of an idea to take your fertilizer, your green fertilizer, sell it to the BGA, and get more green fertilizer back out. Just saying, it might make more sense to take the silage and sell it else places because that is a great, great price for all of that. So, with that being said, guys, what I would like to do is I'd like to go ahead, whisk on my Mary Poppins powers, and fly up into the sky and give you a nice little aerial view. Alright, so now that we have that all set, let's fly up into the sky and take a look and see what's going on from up above. Now, I do like going ahead and doing this. Not everybody's a big fan of it, but I like going ahead and doing this because what we did is we drove up and down these hills, and sometimes it's kind of hard to really gather the full scope of it when you're down on the ground. But when you're up in the air, you tend to be able to see what's going on just a little bit better. Oh man, I tell you what, even though this map is only for PC, I definitely have to say that it is a great map. Maybe potentially it'll make it to console at some point here, but I really, really like this, how this looks. It's not an overabundant amount of fields. It's not having all these fields smashed on top of each other, crammed all together, and making it look like a mess. It is nice. It is spread out. It gives you lots of options. It fills in some of the blanks when it comes to what people want in farms. nice big fields, small fields, medium-sized fields, movement of the land, and also some trees to make you feel like you're really there. Guys, this is a great map. Don't take my word for it. Download it for yourself. See what you think of it. I think you'll like it. But don't take my word for it. Like I said, go ahead and download it. Guys, if you liked what you're seeing, like what you're hearing, go ahead and smash that subscription button. Oh, man. Hit that notification bell. Turn it to all. That way you know when this and other great videos are coming out. Go ahead and share this with a friend. Share it with somebody who likes undulated land, smooth forests to be harvested, or even potentially hippopotamuses. The choice is up to you. It does not matter. Guys, I've had fun. It's been real. Thanks for stopping by.